Doctors on trial. They say they wanted to provide humanitarian aid to Russia. But federal prosecutors allege the Maryland couple was giving the Russians secret medical records. Hello, everybody. I'm Denise Koch.
And I'm Vic Carter. Welcome to those of you watching on CBS News Baltimore and on WJZ-TV.
Well, today, both sides laid out their cases in this high-profile trial.
And for the first time, we saw video recorded by an undercover agent to expose the pair.
WJZ investigator Mike Helgren is live at federal court. He has the explosive details. Mike.
And there were many of them, Denise and Vic. Essentially, the doctors are arguing the government misunderstood their motives, that they did not want to be spies. They wanted to help people who were injured in war. The government says they were positioning themselves as long-term assets of the Russian government to get confidential information. Any comment on how things are going so far?
I'd say be kind to one another. Life is short. Thank you.
Doctors Jamie Lee Henry and Anna Gabrielian spoke to me outside court, where their lawyers pushed back against allegations they were providing private medical records of top U.S. officials to help Russia in the war with Ukraine. Their defense called them naive do-gooders who reached out to the Russian embassy to provide humanitarian aid, but later became frightened that Russia would harm them or their families if they did not produce confidential records.
During the G7 meeting, we're addressing a range of issues.
Prosecutors allege they could potentially provide Russia access to President Biden's medical files through Dr. Henry's role as an Army officer. And Dr. Gabrielian promised access to medical records of high-profile patients at Johns Hopkins Hospital, where she was an anesthesiologist. The prosecutor told the jury they abused their positions as medical professionals and knew exactly what they were doing. And the government alleges they knew it was risky and were ready to flee to Russia. Gabrielian's defense attorney. Do you think the jurors are paying close attention? What can you tell us?
I always hope jurors are paying close attention, and I probably talk too long. So all we can do is pray for the government's, for the jury's good faith.
Days after Russia invaded Ukraine, the government alleges Dr. Gabrielian reached out to the Russian embassy using her Johns Hopkins work email. She was later contacted by what she thought was a Russian operative. It was really an undercover FBI agent. At the heart of the case, hours of that agent's recordings, including inside an FBI parking garage. Gabrielian is a naturalized citizen who moved to the United States when she was 8 years old. Her lawyer told the jury Anna loves her Russian roots. Loving Russia is complicated. It always has been. It doesn't mean if you love where you're from, you're willing to spy for it. Prosecutors say Dr. Henry was reading a book called Inside the Aquarium about a Soviet spy willing to sacrifice everything. And he was motivated to help Russia in part because of his dislike of U.S. policy.
No comment.
Henry made headlines as the first openly transgender Army officer. His lawyer argues based on Russia's poor record on LGBTQ rights, it is ludicrous Henry wanted to help the Russian government. And right now, they're playing some of those undercover videos, and the undercover FBI agent, there's so many security concerns regarding her testimony that we have to be in a separate courtroom where we can only hear her voice and cannot see her. Reporting live downtown, Mike Helgren, WJZ.